Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we are going to look at opinion essays in detail of IELTS Writing Task 2. So let's look at the learning outcomes. By the end of this video, you will have understood how to analyze an opinion essay question. So as you will remember, analyzing any question is the most important part before you start planning for the essay. So that's what we are going to do as far as opinion essay is concerned. Then we'll also have learned idea generation techniques for essay writing. So there are at least 3 techniques that I know of and I'm happy to share it with you. We'll have known how to convert ideas in the brainstorming stage into a good, well-organized, structured essay plan. So everything is pretty clear and straightforward when you start your writing stage. So nothing is ambiguous or open for interpretation. And we'll also have become aware of the key elements of a strong essay introduction paragraph. So what are the key ingredients that make a good introduction paragraph as far as your opinion essays are concerned? So these are the 4 learning outcomes for this video. Hope by the end of this video, you'll have made everything clear for yourselves and you have no lingering doubts in your minds. So without further delay, let's first look at understanding the topic and task of an opinion essay. Now, this stage is not only important for opinion essay, it's important for any kind of essay. So if you want to have a look at the different types of task 2 questions, I have another video which has been recorded previously and I'll share the link in the descriptions, and you'll also be able to see the link on the top of your video. So just click that card and you should be able to go to that video in case you want to know about the different frequently occurring types of task 2 essay questions. So let's check out the topic and task of an opinion essay. Let's read this out. Some people believe that unpaid community service should be compulsory part of high school programs. For example, working for a charity, improving the neighborhood, or teaching sports to younger children. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So this, by the phrase, to what extent do you agree or disagree, it should be clear that we are dealing with an opinion essay. It's not a discussion essay. It's neither a problem solutions essay or a cause effects essay. It's clearly an opinion essay. So just read this. Which of the following is the specific topic of this essay? And you will see a list. So is community service the specific topic of this essay? High school programs, do you think is B the right answer? Or is it making community service compulsory for high school students? Pause the video if you like, read it as many times as you like, and just pick the right answer out of A, B or C. So one of the 3 is the specific topic of this essay. Hopefully you might have tried and you'll have got the same answer as mine, and the correct answer is, it is C, because it is not only talking about community service, it's talking about community service becoming compulsory part of high school or high school programs. So that's the specific topic, and that is why C is a correct answer. Very important part of analyzing any question is to know what's the specific topic asked to the candidate in the question or the task prompt. So hopefully you might have got that right. If you haven't, just pause this video, read it again, and then you might have got, or you might have reached to the right answer. Good. Let's move on. It's the exact same questions about community service, high school programs, unpaid, compulsory. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now, you read this, you tell me, which of the following questions has the same meaning as the essay question above? So in other words, one of the list that you will look at now is nothing but a paraphrase, a reword of the question prompt, in my own words. I want you to judge or evaluate all the lists or all the list items and get to the right answer. How do you feel about unpaid community service? Is that the task asked of you? How far do you agree that community service should become mandatory in high schools? Is that the reword or a good paraphrase of the question? How much do you agree that community service should be made compulsory for all? So either 1, 2 or 3 is the correct answer. Just read the question, read all the list items and pick which one is the right fit. So which one appropriately paraphrases the essay question in our own words. And hopefully you might have tried, you might have got the same answer as mine, which is number 2. How far do you agree that community service should become mandatory in high schools? So they want to know your position, your opinion on a suggestion which they have. They are suggesting making community service, social work in the community to become compulsory, mandatory part that all students have to clear to get a good high school grade. So that's the idea suggested by them, and they want to know how much or how far do you agree with that. So if you feel, yes, I completely agree, you also have the same opinion as theirs, and you see that unpaid community service has more benefits than drawbacks or demerits. So that's your opinion. If you're on the other side of the coin, you will feel otherwise. You will feel that it shouldn't be made compulsory because they should have the right to choose what they want to do. Yeah. So that's where we stand. So hopefully you might have broken the question comfortably down into what is the exact specific topic being asked of the candidate and how do we paraphrase the question so that you know or you gain more clarity on what you are supposed to plan about and write about. Now that we have analyzed the question and broken it down into key components, so we know what the question is asking us to do or address in our answer, we have to start generating relevant ideas for the task. And this is nothing but the brainstorming stage. Yeah, you will definitely just look at some points in favor of community service, some point against community service becoming compulsory in high schools, and choose a position which you can comfortably write about. This is important because don't choose something which you have no idea about. Only choose, even if it's not a real life opinion, it is okay to choose an opinion which you can write about in the task, because we only have 40 minutes and we have to at least give them 250 words minimum for our essay. Yeah. So let's check how do we generate relevant ideas for the task. Again, the exact same question. Pause the video, at least spend 5 to 6 minutes thinking of some points in favor of community service becoming compulsory in high school and some points against the idea. And don't worry, you need not have equal points in both the tables or both the columns. The entire point or the whole point of this exercise is to know which side you can strongly speak about or which side you can strongly support via your essay. That is the more important thing. So don't really get restricted by, getting equal points on either side. It's okay if it's skewed on one side. You can clearly pick a position on that side. Yeah. So let's check. Hopefully you might have tried and you might have got some wonderful points in favor and against the idea suggested. So park those points, and I also did the exercise and I got the points which I will show it to you right now. Yeah. Now in the column of for community service high school, I got some points like community service helps skill development. So students who participate in such social work, they develop skills like teamwork, problem solving, decision making, which are invaluable for life. Yeah. So which are not only invaluable for your work and future, but also in their personal relationships. So that is one point in favor of for community service. Another, it develops cultural sensitivity and empathy towards the disadvantaged section. So sometimes students have a lot of stereotypes about certain sections of society, and until and unless they work with the community, work with those sections, those stereotypes will always remain stereotypes. They wouldn't be able to dispel. certain misconceptions or myths about, those topics or their culture and the way of life and things like that. So engaging in community service will make them more culturally sensitive, will make them more empathetic, so that they will understand what exactly is, or they can separate the facts from the fiction as far as their stereotypes are concerned. Yeah. So that's another advantage of community service. Volunteering, it is highly valued by University Admissions Council for further studies. Those who want to opt for higher education, of course, they can make this experience a relevant experience to show for the Admissions Council. So that's one advantage, and it's also valued by recruiters. So in case you don't opt to study further and you straight away want to start working, so even there, it's advantageous for us to show that we volunteered for solving a certain problem in our society or the community. So these are highly valued by university admissions councils as well as recruiters. Both are important, directly relevant to the question which is asked, benefits of community service. And the last point, now this experience helps students stand out highly in highly educational work environment as well as higher education environment, because in a lot of good highly rated universities as well as workplaces, there is a lot of competition. So you need to show something in your profile that can separate your candidature from those who are applying. So this can be that differentiating factor. So this kind of volunteering experience, voluntary social work can be that differentiating factor that could show that you're a good mix of, you have a good mix of good academic performance as well as some volunteering skills. So some on-field work that you have done as a part of your high school. So all these points are benefits of community service. Now there is also on other side of the coin, so a different argument altogether. So let's talk about those. This is against community service. Now some people would feel that compulsory, since making this compulsory in high schools will infringe the students' ability to make the choice. So students should be given freedom, should have the liberty to choose whether they want to do community service or they want to spend the same time in some other types of activities or leisure time activities, hobbies and things like that. So if it becomes compulsory, it automatically goes against their will in most of the cases. So that is a good point against making it compulsory part of high school programs. Yeah. What's next? Now students, they're already having a lot of stress to submit their papers, make assignments, do homework, or also attend lectures. And sometimes a lot of students, they also work part-time along with studying in high school. Yeah. So this can add to already stressed schedule that they go through, and they have less amount of time for their main academic subjects, and in such cases their academic performance may also be negatively impacted. So you can clearly see that, and these are about 8. So I got about 6 points. 4 was in favor of community service, 2 were against. Yeah. And this kind of technique is called tabling. So you just table them into 2 columns. One column will be in favor of the idea or the view given to you in the question, and the next column will be against. So it will be a diametrically opposite side of the side in favor of the idea suggested. Okay. Now this is a tabling technique, and it is quite clear that I have more points in favor of community service becoming compulsory in high schools. So naturally speaking, I'll go for, I completely agree with the idea suggested in the question that yes, they should be included in high school programs because of the benefits that they get, as well as it improves their prospects for higher studies and work if they opt to work and not study further after high school. Yeah, but I have limited points against. So it will be risky proposition if I choose to take a point that I disagree with the idea, because I don't have much to talk about. So even though in real life I might feel that it does infringe the fundamental rights and it goes against their will, I will choose something which I can write about in the IELTS paper, and that is the for. Now this technique is called tabling. Let's look at some other types of brainstorming techniques if it helps you. And here you don't restrict your ideas and you don't kind of cut them straight away. We'll get to that after the ideation stage when we start drawing up a plan for our essay. So right now your only job is to list down all the ideas as they come, some in favor of and some against the idea or the opinion suggested in the question. Now this slide is the exact same plan, but the method is called listing. The earlier method was called tabling. So you just convert your ideas into two columns. One is for, one is against. This is called listing. You plainly, have a linear notes. Now one heading of the notes is support for this idea. What idea? That high school program should become compulsory. It's the exact same plan, but the only way it's represented is a little different compared to tabling. Yeah. So even here it's quite clear that I have more points in support for community service than point against community service. So my natural choice would be that I completely agree, or I mostly strongly agree with the proposition or the suggestion given in the question. Yeah. This is method number 2, which is called listing. On to method number 2, and this is an interesting technique. Yeah, and a lot of people who are mostly visual learners, they try to opt for this. It's called a mind map. So you're just branching your ideas according to where they belong. Yeah, so here we have a clear representation of what idea is associated with what part of the idea. So it's pretty clear, and we know the branching and association between different set of ideas, which makes this, rather non-linear compared to the listing and the tabling techniques. You can choose whatever works for you in the time given to you. Yeah. So you also have to think about the time that you're given. So again, making community service compulsory for high school students is the specific topic that I have to write about in the essay. And it's been separated into two branches. One is benefits, the next is concerns related to this idea. So point against this idea. So benefits again has 4 branches. The first branch, it helps skill development. And that branch is again divided into another sub branch, which is what type of skills are developed. Maybe teamwork, problem solving, decision making, things like that. Yeah, and the next 3 branches are same as we saw in our linear notes and our tabling technique. So develops cultural sensitivity valued by university, which is for higher studies, and recruiters for people opting to start working, and helps students stand out. So it's like a differentiating factor for them amidst high competition both in universities as well as for work. Yeah. So concerns, 2 branches, influences students' fundamental rights. So it goes against their will most of the time, and students have less time because they are so stressed with their academic schedule. They have to attend lectures, do group projects, assignments, submit papers, and things like that. Yeah, so they have a stressful academic schedule, and this would only add to the stress. That's what it means. So this is a mind map technique. So we saw 3 techniques. The first was tabling. So you just divide the points into 2 columns. One is for, one is against, and you see which one is outweighing the other, so that you can take that position. The next one was listing. You simply list in form of linear notes like we do in lectures, a lot of lectures. Yeah, so that's listing. And then the third and the last one is called a mind map. Yeah. So here these were the techniques of brainstorming. The prime objective in brainstorming is you just ideate and think, warm your brain up with a lot of different ideas which are directly relevant to the question task. So we get a list of at least 4-5 in favor and maybe an equal amount against, if that's the case. Yeah, and you don't need to be equal as far as the ratio of choosing the points in favor and against a concern, you can just, choose to be skewed so that you have a clarity that, okay, now I feel I should speak about this and I can speak about this more. So let me take this position as far as this essay is concerned, even if it's not a real life opinion. It's not your real life opinion. It's you need not have to think like that in real life. It's just for passing the IELTS. Okay. Now let's try to convert our ideas, maybe from the mind map or the listing or tabling, whichever is an appropriate fit to your skills. You choose that and convert those ideas into an essay map. An essay map is a crystal clear, structured, well organized plan which will have important elements that will go in each paragraph of the essay. Yeah. So we just do that by only choosing the relevant ideas or the strongest ideas from our brainstormed list of ideas. And we may also club 2 or more ideas together because they are similar in nature or they are talking about the same point. So here shortlisting is one important skill, and also grouping similar ideas and contrasting them with different ideas so that we set the tone for good paragraphs, well organized paragraphs. So let's make one. So just a recap of the table that we have as far as our ideas are concerned. So I have 4 ideas in favor and 2 ideas against community service becoming compulsory in high schools. Now, how do I convert this into a plan? Yeah, so first I will have to choose my position, because in opinion essays you have to take a position right in the introduction. You cannot make the reader read 3 paragraphs and then you give your view when you conclude. That is inappropriate in opinion essays. Since these are subjective essays, you have to be subjective right where you start. So you have to choose a view, maybe in complete agreement with the view given to you, complete disagreement, or it can be partially agree also. So there are 3 possibilities for your opinion responses. So let's try to convert these ideas into a plan. Okay, so that's my introduction. Now, since you saw that I had more points in favor, I chose the position which was easier to write about, and that is I completely agree that community service should be part of high school course syllabus. Because, and what's my outline? My prime reasons or principal reasons for completely agreeing are: it helps students gain life skills, and it is also important or considered important by university or future workplaces in case you choose to work and not study further. So there are 2 principal objectives revolving, or I will draw my essay around. So first is importance of community service in developing life skills. The second topic sentence and second body paragraph will be importance of community service for your university or your future career prospects. Okay. Now it should be quite naturally flowing into your body paragraph number 1. And body paragraph number 1 will talk about the first principal reason why I completely agree. And that is how social service develops skills to deal with life challenges. Now, life challenges, it could be at work, it could be in personal relationships. And how would I give supporting details to back my topic sentence? First point is it develops teamwork, problem solving skills, critical thinking, and decision making. So these are all important for work environment, and that is how I will back that social service develops skills needed for excellence at work. Yeah. So that's one part of my first body paragraph. The next part is how does it help in smoothening our personal relationships. First, so the last or the third bullet point is it develops cultural awareness. When we work with different socio-economic backgrounds or people in different socio-economic backgrounds, it also develops empathy. So we gain a more empathetic view towards life, we try to think from the other person's perspective and not only be narcissistic and think about, kind of start to think in a selfless manner from the other person's perspective and not from our own. So this is how, these are the 3 supporting details that I will use to back my topic sentence, which is how social service develops skills for dealing with life challenges both at work and in personal relationships. Since cultural awareness or empathy is important in personal relationships, my third bullet point is addressing my second part of the first body paragraph, and the rest of the points are addressing my first part, that is at work, excellence at work. Now this should flow into your body paragraph number 2, which will be your second principal reason why you completely agree. And that is how community service improves higher education as well as career prospects of high school students. Since high school is a time in your life when you have to make important decisions, so this could be one that could benefit you. So if you engage or participate in community service, which if it's compulsory you have to, then it's an important differentiating factor for those entering universities as well as starting work. And we know there's a fierce competition, neck-to-neck competition in universities as well as workplaces. So we need to prove our candidature to them, and this could be one important factor. So universities as well as recruiters have started to lay importance on such experience along with academic excellence. So gone are the days which universities only choose candidates because they are academically brilliant, but they choose someone who's well-rounded, who is, who has a good all-round personality with a good mix of academic performance as well as on-field activities or extracurricular activities. And this is where you could benefit by engaging yourself in community service. Okay. Now the last is, I would use an example of a survey supporting this point about how such programs could help you gain admissions in universities or help you land a good job if you start to work. And I'll use a point about Ivy League universities. So that is the example I will use to support my topic sentence. Yeah. So that's my introduction that I completely agree. Body 1, which is social service, and it's important in developing skills needed to deal with everyday challenges, work and personal relationship challenges. And body paragraph 2 is going to revolve around how community service improves prospects for higher education as well as work. Yeah. And conclusion is again going to state my position. So it will restate my view and give the most important points in both the paragraphs, which are again, because it develops all-round personality of candidates and it strengthens future prospects of students. So future prospects as far as university, education or admission is concerned, and for those who are not opting for further studies, who want to start working, it will improve their work or employment prospects. So that's my plan. Yeah, so it's divided into introduction, 2 body paragraphs which have 2 principal points or 2 central ideas, controlling ideas, and then a conclusion which restates my position and gives the most important reasons for taking that position. Yeah. So this is how we convert an idea or a list of ideas, a table of ideas or a mind map of ideas into a structure. So until you have a plan like this, you will always go into the writing stage with some doubts or some ambiguity, some open interpretations. And there are chances that your sentences or your paragraphs could, become loose, ended with less connection between one paragraph and the other. So all this is an important point in writing good essays. Yeah. So now that we have good ideas, a good list of ideas as well as a strong plan, foolproof plan in favor of community service. So we are completely agreeing with community service. Let's think about writing a good introduction. Step 1, in the writing stage, because believe me or not, introductions are the most important paragraphs of your essays, especially opinion essays where you have to state your positions clearly. There cannot be any open interpretations, or there cannot be any doubt in the mind of the reader as far as your position is concerned. That's going to be a risky proposition. So let's look at some good elements of strong introduction paragraphs. Okay. Again, the exact same question. Which of the following statements makes the writer's position clear? When I say which sentences make the writer's position clear, by reading the sentence, I should be clear about whether the writer's in strong agreement with the view, strong disagreement with the view given in the question, or is somewhere on the fence. It should straightforward and clearly mention the view of the writer. So these are called thesis statement that we look at in shortly. Yeah. Is this sentence gives a clear position of the writer? It is often suggested that students should be made to participate in voluntary social work in order to graduate high school. Think about it. Pause the video if you like. B. I completely lend my support to this idea owing to the lasting benefits learners can derive from this approach. Does this give me a clear-cut idea of the writer's position? Is it C. I completely agree with this idea owing to its detrimental effects on pupils? Or is it D. In this essay, I shed light on how volunteering can help pupils gain invaluable life skills and improve their future prospects. So out of these 4 statements, at least 2 give a clear-cut position of the writer. Which ones are those? Okay, you might have tried and you will have got the same answer as mine, and the correct answers are B and C. Now, if you read B, I completely lend my support to this idea. The writer is making explicitly clear that he is completely agreeing with the suggestion that community service is a good idea and it has lasting benefits on learners. Yeah. Now, on the contrary, C has a diametrically opposite view. So, it says, I completely disagree with this idea owing to its detrimental effects on pupils. So, the writer is in strong opposition to the idea of bringing in community service in high schools because he thinks it's going to have negative impact on pupils, students, learners. Yeah. Now, B and C gives us clear-cut position of the writer. What about sentences A and sentence D? Think about those. Okay, hopefully you might have. And why do you think there are statements A and D in the introduction? It is often suggested that students should be made to participate in voluntary social work in order to graduate high school. Now, it is not giving my view. It's just giving a context or the background to the essay. Yeah. So, this is the starting sentence of your introduction and obviously your essay, because introduction is the first paragraph of your essay. So, this sentence is doing nothing but paraphrasing the topic sentence of the essay or paraphrasing the topic statement in the essay, in academic passive structure. And it gives a background or a context before you give your view to talk about. Yeah. And let's talk about statement D. In this essay, I shed light on how volunteering can help pupils gain invaluable life skills and improve their future prospects. Now, this gives a quick outline of your essay. So, 1, it gives a context to your essay or the background to your essay, paraphrasing the topic statement of the question. And statement D is giving the outline of the most important reasons why would you agree. So, I shed light on how volunteering can help pupils gain invaluable life skills and improve their future prospects. So, there are 2 key reasons why you are agreeing with the idea suggested. So that altogether makes the 3 important points or 3 important ingredients of a strong introduction. Statement number 1 is a context or background to this essay. Statement number 2 has to give your position to the essay. It is also known as a thesis statement. So only by reading this sentence, I become clear as far as what's the view of the writer vis-a-vis the question given to him or her. In this case, I know that the writer is completely agreeing with the idea suggested. Yeah. Ingredient number 3, it will have a good outline, a very short outline without much details. Because introductions are not a place where you have to give details or justify your position. You just state your position, give a background to the essay, state your position, and finally give an outline of the key points you're going to talk about in your essay. And of course, the outline is optional. You may choose it, you may not. But I think it makes a cohesive, it makes your essay a little more cohesive than if you don't include it. Yeah. So try to include it if you can. So clubbing it all together, there we have a good, strong introduction to our essay. So sentence number 1 gives or sets the tone, gives a background, context to your essay question. Mostly a paraphrase of the question in passive academic sentence. Sentence number 2 gives a clear-cut position of the writer. Sentence number 3 in dark purple, it gives a quick outline of the key reasons why you have taken the position that you say you have taken. In this case, I'm starting the essay with introducing the topic of voluntary service becoming compulsory for graduating high school. Then I state that I completely agree with the idea because of the lasting benefits, long-term benefits learners can derive. And the last sentence, I'm talking about the quick outline. So there are 2 key points. First, learners gain invaluable life skills. And the next key point is they improve their future prospects. Good. So check your understanding of the concepts covered in this video. Hopefully you might have got those, or you might have understood everything that was going on. Please take this short test and you could give in your answers by writing into the comment box. Yeah, I will try to reply as much as I can. So read this question. Which of the following questions has the same meaning as the essay question below? So which is a good reword or a paraphrase of the essay question below? Yeah, so there are 3, A, B and C. Which one of the 3 do you think is a good reword, has the same meaning as the sentences that are in the essay question? Okay, put your answers in the comment boxes. Okay, which of the 2 essay plans is more appropriate for the essay? Again, it's the exact same essay. You will see 2 plans, plan A and plan B. Now, if you want to know the difference between an appropriate plan and an inappropriate plan, always check and evaluate whether the introduction or the position that the writer has taken in the introduction of the plan matches the topic sentences of the body paragraphs. Because the position that you take in your introduction should be sustained throughout your body paragraph in any opinion essays. You cannot say that you completely disagree with the idea and then you talk about people who might agree and justification for that view. So that's not an appropriate plan. So check and mix and match whether the introduction matches the topic or central ideas of the body paragraphs or not. That's how you would get to an appropriate plan for this. Question number 3. Which of the following should not be a part of essay introductions? Should examples supporting your view be in your introductions? Is it a good idea to have examples in your introductions? Your opinion on the idea, issue or view stated in the question. So should the introductions have your opinion on the idea? Paraphrase of the essay topic statement. Should introductions have a reword of the question or not? Outline of what the essay will contain. Key points. Details justifying your position. Is it a good idea to have details supporting your view? And thesis statement. That's the last. So is it a good idea to have a thesis statement in opinion essay introductions or not? Think about it and write your answers in the comment boxes. Okay, the last question. Which of the following essay introductions is against the idea suggested in the question? So you will see the question says government should spend money on railways rather than roads. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Yeah, so the view given to us is it's a good idea to spend money on railways, not on roads. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree with that? Do you have a partial agreement stance? Okay, this is introduction labeled A. State administration has been advised to allocate more funding towards developing rail infrastructure than modernizing roads. My view is that this policy is rather preposterous and needs more evaluation. In this essay, I will highlight why roads are as important as railways and why only encouraging the latter can have negative impact on passenger freight and freight transport. And this is label B. So, a clue, if you want to know the position of the writer, look at the thesis statement in the introduction. You will clearly know what's the position of the writer, and both are perfectly valid introductions. But I want you to choose one which disagrees with the idea suggested in the question. Which one of the two is that, A or B? Good. So let's have a review of everything we learned. We learned how to analyze an opinion essay question. We learned idea generation techniques for essay writing, at least 3, tabling, listing and mind map. We learned how to convert ideas into an essay plan, and finally we also learned how to what are the key elements or ingredients that make introduction paragraphs strong for your opinion responses. Yeah, good. Thanks a lot for joining me, and hope you stick with this channel and keep an eye on all the future videos. As far as my next plan videos is concerned, the radar is on constructing body and conclusion paragraphs for the same essay question that we saw in this video. So this only looked at introductions, planning and ideating your essay question. The next video will look at body paragraphs and conclusion for the exact same opinion essay question. Next one, it will look at 3 different answers to the same opinion type essay or same opinion type question. Since it's a subjective essay, we can have a completely agree stance, completely disagree stance and a partly agree stance. So those are the 3 options that we have to choose from, and you will see all the 3 side by side in that video. Okay, thanks a lot for joining me, and what you see here is the related videos and topics. Also you see the Facebook group address and your E4E Hub Twitter handle. So drop in your comments or share something which you feel needs to be improved, and keep your eyes on the future videos of this channel. Take care, happy learning, goodbye.